Hello and welcome to another episode of Working Dad Trader. In this video, I'm going to be showing you the power of compound interest. If you have little money like me, you're not going to want to miss this information. This information that's going to help benefit not only my family, it could possibly help benefit yours. If there's anything in this video that you find really useful, it'd be fantastic if you could give me a like. And if you want to hear more from me, then please subscribe. So, what is compounding? Compounding is basically the concept of the power of accruing interest on top of interest year after year after year. So it's just you're earning money on money you've already earned year after year after year is basically what compounding interest is. And how does it work, you might ask? So we will look at examples. So if we think about, let's use a vehicle that tracks the S&P 500. So that could be an ETF or an index fund of some sort that will track the S&P 500. And let's think about the S&P 500, which is the main thing that people know. The S&P 500 began in 1926, and from that time until now, it has produced a yearly average return of 10% every single year on average since 1926. According to Goldman Sachs, the S&P 500 has returned a yearly average of 13.6% in the past 10 years, which is fantastic. So we're going to go now. I'm going to show you some examples of how it all will work. Right, so let's have a little look at some examples of the power of compounding. This is something that you can easily do yourself at home. Just go into Google like I have, type in compounding calculator. There's lots of free tools out there to help you. This is just one that I've clicked on called the calculator site. And then all you got to do is just play around with some of the figures on what you could afford, etc., the possible interest rates you might receive. So let's go through some examples. So obviously we're talking about the S&P 500 and how it's averaged around 10%. We're going to be a lot more conservative than that. With a lot of ETFs and index funds, depending on your provider, you've also got to add in some fees that they might charge you to use their products. These can vary massively in fees, what you would pay yearly to have your money in these different vehicles. There's lots of cheap ones out there though, like Vanguard, that are really, really low on fees. So just bear in mind these fees and have a look. If you're looking to something that you're looking to do is put your money into an ETF or an index tracker fund, just look at the fees and see. A lot of the sites will work out the cost it will have on your total investment. So just check that over. So with that in mind, with a conservative and sort of thinking about possible fees over the time, I've put it down to just 7% return. So we first look at just 2 years. And £50 a month we would put in for 2 years, and just work out what that would possibly bring us back in 2 years. And then all we do is push on the beginning button, on the calculator button, sorry. And that gives me a calculation straight away. So over 2 years, I would have paid in £1,200. It breaks it down then so that my final investment after 2 years could possibly be £1,291.54, and in the 2 years I might have earned £91.54 of interest. Now that doesn't sound very much, but that's only over 2 years. The key to making this power work of compounding is time. Time is key. So if we think more longer ahead, like maybe you're planning for some extra cash for retirement or to pay off a mortgage or whatever it is, let's go for a bigger time difference. Let's say 20 years. So all we do is go into the box in years and change that to 20. We will stick to the same monthly payments of £50, and calculate if we paid £50 a month for 20 years. Look at the difference this will have. So we were paying £12,000 in 20 years at £50 a month, and our final investment could possibly be £26,198.27. Total interest earned over those 20 years is £14,198.27. So the interest alone over 20 years that we would gain from this investment is higher than the actual amount we put in. So that's the power of compounding, because you're earning interest on top of interest every year. So the longer and longer you keep it in, you're earning more and more interest every year on top of the interest before. And it just breaks it down on this example. For the 20-year period, you can see the amount of the deposits keep the same, £600 every year. Your interest you're earning, that just goes to a new balance, and it just keeps going up and up and up and up and up. So that's the power of compounding. It also gives you a graph. So that starts off with your deposits, and look at that interest that gains in the graph. It just flies up and up and up over time. It's a fantastic way of building wealth. I mean, you can change it around. If you think 7% is too high, you can swap it around to 5% and say it's more conservative, more realistic, possibly could be right. You can calculate it again using that, and it gives you different figures. You can change the amount of money if you can afford more than £50 and you want to put in £100 a month for 20 years. We'll leave it at 5%. So like there, you've put in £24,000 over 20 years. Your final investment is £41,274 with interest of £17,274 of interest. I mean, it's great. You can play around with this, and it's a fantastic tool to use. But it's just an example of showing the power of compounding. This is not stuff that I was ever taught at school. This was new to me until I started getting into investing and reading books and looking on the internet. It's just something that you're just not taught about, and it's really something that all of us need to start thinking about and getting our heads around if we want to become more financially free when we get older. Like I say, time is key. Another thing you have to think about, which I also now thinking about if you have children like I do, is start possibly thinking about what can I do to help my children for when they grow up and become adults. There's a lot in England, in the UK, there are junior stocks and shares ISAs, which I have now started for my children. And again, the compounding interest calculator works the same way for them. So if you can just afford to put a little bit of money away each month into your child's junior stocks and shares ISA, or there must be equivalents in other countries, it will make such an amazing effect. So if we use an example, we can leave it at 5%. They can touch their money when they're 18 in the UK. So if they, from birth, you did it from as soon as they were born, and you could only afford £25 a month for 18 years to put into a child's junior ISA. It just makes such a difference for something for your child to have when they're 18, when they can maybe go to university or put it towards a house as a deposit or possibly a car. There with just £25 a month, it would only cost you £5,400 in 18 years for £25 a month, and they could possibly walk out with £8,766 and £3,366 worth of interest. If you could afford more than £25 a month, it just makes such a difference, and it'd be such a help for your child, because obviously all you want to do is the best for your child. Again, you would put in £10,800 over the 18 years for your child, and they would walk away at 18 with £17,532, and you would have earned interest of £6,732. Obviously, this is only with a 5% interest, so it's very conservative. It could be a lot more. You could be earning 7, you could be earning 10. Who knows? No one knows the future. But it's something that, if you have children, you really should start thinking about, even if it was just for 10 years, and you could only afford, well, we'll keep it at 50. Say your child is, 8 years old, you put in £6,000 and they get £7,796 at just 5% interest. It's going to be way better than just a normal cash ISA, and it just gives them a good start, and it's something that you can do for your own child. Right, well, I hope the insight into compounding was really useful for you, and you got some good insight into that and how it can really benefit and help yourself, your own situation and your family. But bear in mind, people, it can also work against you, especially if you have credit cards. If you've got a lot of debt on credit cards with big percentage interest payments on them of 19, 20, 27%, compound interest can work against you in this situation. So you must clear your credit card debt first before you can even think about then saving into some type of vehicle to do that. Okay, I hope you really enjoyed this video. Please remember to give me a like and subscribe if you want to see some more helpful videos, and I shall see you soon.